Back to the Culture Call on Praise 93.3 with L. Spencer Smith. Our desire is to reach and empower the community by discussing a cross-section of relevant topics from various perspectives that are essential to its growth and interpersonal connections. Be sure to save our call-in number, 205-752-4800. Be sure to install the free Praise 93.3 app so you can send L. Spencer Smith a message or topic idea. Search for WTSK in your app store.
This is the world premiere.
Great morning, great morning, great morning, precious people. You know what time it is. Welcome to the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3. It's a wonderful day. And of course, this is the place where Tuscaloosa meets the world. And you know, for the next 2 hours from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., you know what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about everything from society to sports, education to economics, and definitely from religion to relationships. And as I always say, we are here to create a safe space to have empowering, provocative, and sometimes controversial, controversial conversations, yeah. And you can call in or chat it up, yeah. And as we learn together right here on the Culture Call. Want to send a shout out to all of you all who have been listening to me all week. It's been a wonderful week, hasn't it? Right? I know we've been talking about the black church. And so, yeah, y'all have really been hitting me up and talking some of y'all talking noise and it's cool. And giving me some insights on where you come from and what you think about that. And so I want to definitely appreciate you. But maybe this is your first time listening to me, on the Culture Call. Well, let me give you some instructions. Do me a favor. Go to your phone. Grab it in your hand. That's right. Your smart device, whether it's an Apple phone or an Android. Go to that app store. Search out Praise 93.3. And there you will find our free 99 app. That's right. Download it on your phone. And guess what? You'll be able to listen to me from all over the world. That's right. No matter where you are, if they have reception, you can open it up, that app, and hear us, Praise 93, and definitely from the hours of 10 to 12, you can hear L. Spencer Smith right here on the Culture Call. So I need you to do that. Listen, it is going to be phenomenal. And so many of you already have the app. You listen to me in D.C., in Philly, in New Jersey, in Texas, in Louisiana. Man, listen, I am so proud and pleased and so tremendously honored that you all spend some time with me during your work day. Also, you can send me your public service in announcements or events. That's right. You can do that at culturecall.praise@gmail.com. That's culturecall.praise@gmail.com. And let me be your PR megaphone all over the city. Wherever you are, you can let me know. Guess what? And I'm going to tell people what's going on at your church and your organization, your fraternity, sorority, your concerts, whatever it may be. I want to be the voice that lets everybody know what's going on so that they can create traffic. Because you know what? Nobody likes to have a program or an event and nobody shows up, or just a few people, right? And so, let me do my job for you. Absolutely. I'm going to give you me for free. And let me tell everybody what's happening in your neck of the woods. You know why? Because we do it better when we do it together. And as always, I remind you to write down this number, 205-752-4800. That's 205-752-4800. And you can call into the show. You can call in and we can chat it up a bit. Let me know your perspective. Or if you can't call me because you're at work or somewhere else where you can't talk, go ahead and get that app because you can chat with me on the app. That's right. There is an app, a chat feature on the app, and you can send it to me and I will read it on the air. Yeah, let me know how I'm doing, whether I'm doing good, whether I'm sticking up the joint, or whatever topics you want to talk about. I definitely want to hear from you. So be a part of the conversation. Listen, so do me a favor on this beautiful Friday, sit back and relax. Grab you some coffee or some tea. Yeah, y'all know about my coffee, though. Maxwell House of Starbucks. You know what I like. Get you some herbal tea, chamomile, if you're trying to chill out. Or get you some green tea. If you're trying to wake up, get a little caffeine push. Get you some alkaline water if you don't like coffee or tea. Get you some alkaline water, some Essentia, whatever that is. And get down to that cellular level and detox your body. And let's get hydrated and get into the culture. Listen, y'all, there's been so much going on. And you hear me say that every day. Well, you know what? Because folks won't chill out. I mean, really, folks will not chill out. Something is always predominantly in the news, and folks are always kicking up dust. And so, listen, we've got to talk about it, because I think we bring some understanding and some nuance so that we in our community won't be late, last, or lost in what is happening. And I'm telling you, so much is going on. But nonetheless, I'm excited this morning because I get to talk about one of my favorite topics. Other than the black church, I get to talk about purpose. I want to talk about you and me. And so this morning we're going to have a conversation about purpose and personality, the eternal and internal conversation. Yeah, that's a heavy one, ain't it? Yeah, I know. So you might want to lean into this. You hear me? You might want to lean into this. Why are you talking about this, El? What's going on, Bishop? Okay, good. I'm glad. As I walk out and meet new people and meet old people every day, just meet people, one of the things that I always value, that I think I have been given divinely and innately, is to be able to understand people context. That when I meet a person, I always want to know when we have a conversation, especially if we have time to talk and time to just to kind of fellowship. I always love to know about their journey. I love to know how they got to where they are, where they come from, where they are now, and where they perceive themselves to be going. So that's just really an interesting, a facet of who I am, that if I ever get a chance to sit and talk with you, I don't like just doing, needless conversation or superfluous language. I like it when somebody says, hey, let's talk, and we're having a deep conversation, and I can hear their history. I can hear their present. I can hear their future. I can hear their past, their present, and their future all in one conversation. I can hear their yesterday, their today, and their tomorrow as they begin to talk and as we begin to share. And one of the things I begin to understand about this high creation, the highest creation called human, is that all of us are on some kind of journey. And that journey is different from each other. And now, why do you say that? Because when you look out in the world, there seems to be an antagonistic feature trying to make everybody the same, believe the same, think the same, look the same. And when they don't, there's a penalty when you don't measure up to this kind of standard. And who set the standard are people and systems that disregard, don't understand the height of God's creation and making people different, giving them different fingerprints, giving them different DNA, giving them different, all those kinds of things. He sets the solitary in families. And I think that's important too, because we're going to talk about that whole family journey as well. But yes, he sets the solitary in families. What does that mean? That means, yes, we are born singularly when we come born by ourselves, unless we are twins. But nonetheless, no one comes out all at the same time. In other words, and we walk in this world as a solitary figure. We walk in this world by ourselves. Again, you might be a twin, a triplet, or whatever, but when you walk by yourself. And he says, I set that singularity in families. In other words, I'm going to give that singular you a home base, a ground, a root system. I'm going to give you a community. I'm going to give you a community so that you will not have to take this journey alone, that you are never in this world by yourself. Now, I know sometimes you feel lonely, and I know sometimes you feel disconnected, but those are the things, those things are indicators. They are indicators in your life that you are needful of community, that you are needful for connection and relationship, right? And so as I think about people context, one of the things that I teach is that you've got to accept the person how they come. You got to accept them for what they bring to the table. You've got to accept them for the good and the bad, the favor and the flaws, the success and the defeats. You got to do all of that in order to get an understanding of that person, the whole context of who they are. And again, one of the interesting things is when you talk to a person, you can hear two things emerge, or what you will see if you pay attention, two things emerge. One is their personality, whether they're introvert, whether they're extrovert, whether they're highly confident, or whether they are very demure and timid. You can find out, just by their personality, or they are a person that's very, very serious, or very, very comedic, right? You can find all of that about their personality. And then if you continue to talk within the somberness of the serious person, or the comedy of the laughing person, or the introversion of the, the hiding of the introvert, or the exposure of the extrovert or the confident person, what you will begin to hear, if you pay attention, or better yet, discern, is purpose. You will begin to figure out that person is here for a particular purpose. That person is here on a particular journey toward something. And what I think as humans that we must need realize is that we don't get the opportunity or the right to tell a person what their purpose is. Purpose is ultimately divinely assigned, right? But what we get to see is their personality, right? And that personality is shaped, that identity is shaped by environment. It's shaped by self-perception. It is shaped by the people that we grow up with, our particular community. It is shaped by our education. See, personality is very interesting because personality is oftentimes something that we choose. Purpose is not, right? And so when we talk about purpose and personality, it's really not in verses. It is how that some of us have been assigned to things by God that he has given us a particular personality, or we have been shaped into a particular personality, not given us, but shaped into a particular personality. And what we must understand is that purpose outweighs personality, that how you show up in the world is secondary to what your purpose is, because you could try to be something and your personality is a certain way, but your assignment in the world is something totally different. And sometimes that personality can conflict so much with purpose that it sends you down a road to where you are confused about what you are supposed to be doing. One of the things that I tell leaders all the time, and I'll tell you, I'll share with you, Culture Call, is that it makes no sense being successful in something you were not purposed to do. That all over the world, there are people that are extremely successful in a purpose and doing things that have nothing to do with their ultimate purpose in the earth. And so we look at that success and we say that person is on purpose, right? We look at all the things that they have gotten and all the things that they've accrued and say, oh, that person is really they're really in their purpose. And that could be really far from the truth. That really could, because especially in this context in which we live, this moment in which we live, a lot of times we choose things to get us, not closer to purpose. We choose it to get us closer to money, to having a convenient and a comfortable life, to being able to, have anything we want, do anything we want. We do it so in such a place that all it reflects on is the now. Not the future. It reflects on the now. Here's what I want now. I want to be a millionaire now. I want to be a billionaire now. I want to be a successful mogul now. I want to be a CEO now. I want to be the world's greatest preacher now. I want to be the world's famous singer now. All those nouns converging, right? And how many people really stop and say, I wonder, in all of this success, am I on purpose? Am I really living? Or am I really doing what I am supposed to be doing? Because what if your purpose doesn't bring you billionaire status? And what if your purpose doesn't bring you the 5-room mansion or the 6-room mansion or all of the other material accoutrements that we measure success, that we measure people on target. What if my attitude and my personality is the thing that keeps me avoiding or keeps me away from what my purpose is? What happens when I'm an introvert, but my purpose is designed to be on the front stage? It's designed to be in the front. What if I'm supposed to be the lead singer, but my personality only says, I just want to be in the background. I just want to be in the rear. I don't want nobody. No. What happens when who you have been born to be, who you have been made to be and created to be by God, is contradictory to the personality that you show up with? What happens there? So many people believe that personality is purpose, and it's not. Let me say that again. That so many people believe that personality is purpose. You ever heard somebody say, they're kind of gruff or whatever, and they say, that's just who I am. That's just how God made me. And you're like, ain't no way God made them like that. No, because they are reflections of their environment. They're reflections of their community. They're reflections of the people that they grew up around. But what does that have to do with purpose? Right? That sometimes God, not sometimes, all the time, God will assign us in places for our purpose, but we get so acculturated with where we are and who we are around that we get so disconnected from what he says to the point we'll reject that to keep them. Woo! Yeah. We'll reject purpose to keep the people who make us comfortable. We will reject purpose in order to stay in the country. We will reject purpose in order to stay in the city. We will reject purpose in order to stay in the projects. We will reject purpose in order to stay with our childhood friends. We will reject purpose simply to become comfortable and convenient. And what happens to that purpose? When you've chosen by your personality where you want to be and what you want to do, and oh, no, that's not for me. Oh, no, that's for me. What happens to that thing? See, because one of the things that I've understood over the years is that purpose causes you to breathe. Purpose is your personal oxygen. Let me say that again. That purpose is your personal oxygen. That you breathe. Purpose causes you to breathe in a different way. It causes you to embrace your uniqueness. It causes you and connects you with the divine. Purpose does. When you find your purpose and you're living in that, it does something to you. It does something to you. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. I know this is where I'm supposed to be. I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. What I'm supposed to do. It's like a tree finally finding the ground that can nourish its roots. That's what purpose is. And can I tell you something else? Personalities will change. Personalities will change. You're this way around one group of people. You're another way around another group of people. As you get older, as you mature, as you learn more, as you grow more, your personality will change. I'm always interested. It's always interesting when I hear somebody say, oh, I've known them all their life, and they've been the same way all their life. That's interesting. That's interesting. And I'm not just talking about on a face level, because I have met people who are still funny. They're still, but I can tell that there's growth. I can tell that there is maturity. I can tell that they've tapped into something about themselves. And yes, they are making the room laugh. And yes, they are still comedic. There's something about their personality that is consistent, but they've found something beyond that. They found a centering place. They found a centering moment, like we call this. They found a place to do and to be who they're really supposed to be. I challenge young people especially that in this world, your job is quite easy. we make it way more difficult than it has to be. And that is not to get more money, not to get married, not to have the biggest house, not to have the biggest car, not to fly. No, that's not the apex of living. The apex of living is to find out who you are. It is to find out what your purpose is. Yeah, it is to realize, recognize, tap in, and begin to work in that area. Not labor, but work. Work in that area that gives you strength, that you don't mind waking up to this every day. Now that's complicated in a capitalistic system because you got to work. And a lot of us are not working in the fields of our purpose. A lot of us have found jobs and are doing things to make money, to make sure we can pay these bills, we can pay this mortgage, we can pay this electric bill, this gas bill, whatever the bills may be, we can put food on our table, all of that, clothes on our back. So a lot of us where we work, we don't necessarily like it. It ain't something that causes us to be stimulated. It doesn't elevate our creativity, doesn't activate our innovation. It doesn't do anything. We've just found a place to where, okay, they're going to pay me X amount of dollars. I can work for that. And that, my friend, is not work. That's labor. That's labor. Because if it only edifies the material side of you, if it only edifies the fleshy side of you, but it does nothing for your soul and spirit, that's not purpose. No, that is not purpose. And one of the things that we need to understand is that, sometimes people think that the only purpose God is handing out is preachers. And I'm like, our ministers, that's and everything else needs to be discovered or discovered by yourself or by no, that's not the only purpose. That's not the only purpose that he gives. Every purpose he gives. And yes, there are some that will be preachers. Yes, there are some. Yeah. But there are some that will be bankers. There are some that will be doctors, lawyers, teachers, singers, musicians, all purposed by his hand. Yeah. Right? And I think one of the things that we miss in this is that purpose does not always agree with our personalities. They don't always agree. Listen, as a point of reference, I always use myself. Since I can't talk about you, let me talk about me. Let me talk about me. Here's the deal. The deal is simply this. I would not have chosen to be a preacher. That's not something that was where I saw myself in my life. Music, yes. I knew it when I was a child. You know what I'm saying? I knew it when I was a child. And I love it. I love it to this very day. It takes me to a place. I don't go, when I'm riding in my car, and I've always been like this, and when I'm riding in my car, there's some music on. There is some music. If there is no music on, I'm thinking about a song. I'm writing a song. Or you know what I'm saying? And I would have never thought that I would be a preacher. I didn't think that was a part of my purpose. I didn't think so. I love to do music. I sing, and I'm back in my corner. I'm back in my room. I'm back in front of a keyboard. I'm hushing, So I don't know if that's introvert. I don't know what you classify that. I'm definitely not going to self-diagnose, right? Yeah, I mean, that's just me. And then this preaching thing comes, this unfolding, and I'm hearing this divine voice calling me and telling me that's what I'm going to be. And I'm like, are you crazy? No, let somebody else have that. Let somebody else do that. I'm like, in my mind, watch this. In my mind, my personality didn't line up with that. I had a speech impediment growing up, so I really didn't like to talk at that time, and I can remember the first time that I heard it at 12 years old. And I was like, no, I'm good. Then I heard it again at 16, that same, hey, calling me at 16. I was like, no, absolutely not. In high school? No. Then I started hearing again at 17, 18 while I'm in my college, freshman year of college, my second semester freshman year. And I'm like, I don't want to know. Yeah. But by that next spring, guess what your boy was doing? Getting ready to do his initial sermon. And today, as a part of my purpose, I can't see me not doing it. It's literally air to me. It's literally oxygen. It feels like music. It feels like music when I'm preaching. Preaching feels like music. Music feels like preaching. It's where I feel most connected to God for my life. Now I can't answer for other people. Other people look at they say, I want to do that. I want to be that. That wasn't me. No. That's how I know that it's a part of my purpose, because it does something for me. It does something in me. It grounds me just like music does. It grounds me. It causes me to see myself in a divine way, in a powerful way, in a connected way. And so, yes, my personality has been shaped, has changed over the years, depending on who my circle is, depending on who I'm around. Yeah, my personality, I'm not that I'm inconsistent. It's just that I know I can be this person before that person and this person. So I know everyone who I'm talking to right now got multiple personalities. And you are like, well, I'm the same everywhere. If you are the same everywhere you go, then you don't have awareness. If you talk around your boss and your other folks, your supervisors, the same way you talk with your friends and just, your chat buddies, then you are not aware of who you are. Every one of us have multiple personalities. We know how to switch that thing up, especially black folks. We know how to switch it up when we got to. When I'm in front of the governor or the mayor or whatever, I know that I got words for that, language for that. I got a personality for that. But when I'm just talking to my brothers and my friends, I got a personality for that, and various personalities depending on what room I'm in. But I am clear. If they need somebody to sing or they need somebody to minister, preach, then my purpose is going to override whatever personality I have come into. You see? And so today we're going to be talking about tapping into that purpose of your life. Have you tapped into it for real? Not what somebody told you, not what you dreamed about because you ate some bad collard greens, but we talking about do you really know what your purpose is? That's what we're going to be talking about today on the Culture Call right here with Elspeth Smith on Praise 93.3 FM. Listen, we got a great day planned ahead. Get hydrated, get you something to drink, and be right back here. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back, family. That's right. This is the Culture Call with yours truly, Elspeth Smith, right here on Praise 93.3. And we have already started a wonderful day. Listen, 205-752-4800, or you can hit me up on the app so we can talk about what? Purpose and personality. That's right. Purpose and personality. You know what? There's a particular text in the Bible that I want to bring out as we start talking about this, because I think it's a challenging text, and I really don't think that we understand the gravity of what we quote it a lot. You hear it a lot in church, but I don't think we understand really the full parameter and the gravity, the weight of what the word says. It's in Proverbs. And the text says, train up. It's an instruction to parents. Train up your child in the way that he should go. And then when he gets older, he will not depart from it. I think that's very interesting, because I think we hear train in a very Americanized European way, which means, get your commands, get your rules, get your chores, all those other kinds of things. You go here, you go here, you don't go here, you don't. There's a whole lot of, we whip out the 10 Commandments, and we really think that that's training. We tell them how to say yes, ma'am. We tell them how to say no, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. We tell them how to be, considerate, opening the doors and, being polite. We teach them how to be dutiful in school, to do their best. And that best in our homes are A's and B's. And we teach them how to, wear their clothes and be clean, to brush their teeth, make sure that you put on deodorant so you won't be out here, because you're representing us. You representing whatever your last, you representing the Smith family. You're representing the Jones family. And so we take that text, train up a child in the way that should go. And a lot of times we misinterpret it because we think that way is our way. That a lot of times our parents thought that way was the way that they felt like we should be reared, the way that they felt like we should be going. And that's not really what the text means. The text causes you, when you really study and dig down in the text is really this, is that the Bible says that that children are the heritage of the Lord, and they are arrows in his quiver. Now, the whole idea, those two texts really go together. That the whole objective is that if you understand anything about archery and you understand anything about an arrow has a point, it has a shaft, and then it has the bow, it has the feathers at the end, right? On the inside where you pull back and you shoot it from a bow. But if you look at it, the arrow is important. The arrow is important because the arrow has to be straight. Archers know how to first, before they shoot anything, to look to see if or how the arrow has been bent in its making. Bent, B-E-N-T. Because they understand that is the way, that little bend in that arrow, in the shaft of that arrow, is going to determine the trajectory or the direction of that arrow. So before they even shoot it, before they even utilize their strength, before they aim it at the target, they have to accommodate and understand how this bend is going to change the trajectory and the aim of the arrow. They could be pointing straight at the bullseye, but if that arrow is bent in a certain way, if it's bent to the left, it's going to go to the left. If it's bent to the right, it's going to go to the right. Yeah, if it's bent up, it's going to go up a little bit. Bent down, same thing. You look at the shaft to see how it is bent, right? Because that is the way that it is going to go. It is designed to go that way. Got it? Good. Now, when you look at train your child in the way that should go, understand that your child is an arrow. And that as you are rearing your child, you have to watch and pray and discern the way that your child is what? Bent. Just like an arrow. You can't shoot that child in the way that you want it to go, and when it doesn't go that way, you get mad. What's wrong with you? So disobedient. No. You have to pray. You have to discern. You have to watch. You have to communicate. You have to talk to that child to find out what eternal message has been placed internally in them and help them get to that direction. Yeah, you have to train them in the way that he should go, not the way you want them to go. See, because the way that they should go is purpose. The way that they should go is destiny, designed and marked by God, right? And but we have a lot of times, missed that whole opportunity to really shape our children and send them in the direction that they were divinely sent. Because in our minds as parents, our job is to make sure that they do what we tell them to do, and that we send them off in this particular direction, and we do this, that, the other. Not understanding that a lot of times it's the environment that child has been raised in that has them disconnected from purpose once they become adults. Let me say that again. That environment that child was raised in ultimately either promotes and or hinders the way that child would be a purpose for that adult. That there are many clueless adults today because when they were children, no one took the time to examine their bend. No one took the time to say, let me see really, God, tell me what's with this child? What's with this one? Because if you miss it, that child that is out of purpose will be an adult that always is searching for purpose. I say that they're groping on the walls trying to find the light switch because of the darkness of their purpose, groping for identity, groping for purpose. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing, who they're supposed to be, what they are here for, because although they had parents that provided a meal, clothing, shelter, love, that parent did not really, and I don't even know because a lot of times we don't teach it that way, that parent really didn't know to check the bend of the arrow. To check the bend of the arrow. Because all of us, even myself, when my babies were born, there are things that I had in my mind that they would be. There are things that I had in my mind, and the Holy Spirit checked me. Right? God checked me. Yeah. It's like, no. Find out how, look at each one of them. I'm going to show you. And so my wife and I simply began to kind of sit back, and we saw this tremendous creative nature come out of both of our, especially the twins, come out of both of our children. Extremely creative. That there was something going on with them that we had to foster. I remember we were sitting in the back, that we were going somewhere, and we were just, we got the McDonald's because they like McDonald's, a little Happy Meal. They just learned how to eat fries so we could, and we were driving down, and we had the Winans' last record that they did as a group, right? And they did it, they were singing, and the lead song on that was Paradise. And we just began to listen, and we were like driving down the road, and they were back there, my son and daughter back there singing Paradise in harmony. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I was like, honey, you hear that? She's like, I was getting ready to say something to you. That these children can hear that they are creative and they're extremely gifted in that area. It's not because I'm a singer and I said sing. It's not because I'm X, Y, Z, ABC. I'm a singer. I would not have no tone deaf children. That was nothing that we did. That was nothing. It was just that we were driving, they were listening, and one day they opened up their little mouth, bobbing their little heads, eating their little fries, harmonizing with each other. No musical training, no musical gifting or anything. That told us quickly that these children were bent in the design of creativity. And even today, that they are years removed from that. Yeah, they're older now. They're adults now, but they are extremely gifted and extremely in the areas of creative arts. And yes, they do other things. My daughter does another thing. My son is kind of still in that area, but I mean, you can't beat them in the area of creativity. That's the way that they were bent, And we had to be very careful to allow them the space to fulfill purpose. My wife and I, we've always taught purpose to our children. Yes, be able to provide for yourself. Yes, be able to get a good job and all those different kinds of things. Sometimes you got to do what you want to do until you can, you do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. Absolutely. We taught that. So they went to, Morehouse and Spelman respectively, and they got their degrees in business and all that kind of stuff, because we wanted to make sure that, you make sure that you can take care of yourself. But what we did not do is tell them, leave that creative stuff alone, because that's a part of their bent. That's a part of their oxygen. That is what makes them who they are. And no, it may not make them billionaires. Preferably they will be, and they loan their daddy $20. Yeah. But one thing we could not do is try to get them and move them into the area so safe away from purpose. Some of you who are listening to me today are so safe, too safe away from purpose. You're too safe. That now you're older and you're grown, and now you're trying to figure out, how can I go back and recapture that? How can I go back and get back what I missed? How can I find my oxygen? How can I breathe again? I need resuscitation in my life. I'm doing the same old things over and over and over again. I go to this job I don't like. I'm looking at people I don't like. I don't really fit in at XYZ. But when I do this, I'm happy. When I do this, I feel centered. When I do this, I feel God. I feel like I'm breathing fresh air. But how can I do that now? Because your mind has been taught to be an enemy to your purpose. Right? And it started from that scripture in Proverbs. Train that child. Train that. I remember I was sitting in my room around, I was thinking about 15, 16, because I was I graduated early from high school. I was in those birthdays. My birthday just hit. So I was, it was really that moment. And I had two applications in front of me. It was to Morehouse College and it was to Florida A&M University. And if I went to Morehouse, I was going to major in law because, I kind of like law. I like, doing kind of stuff. But it didn't make me feel like internally like music did, which was at FAMU. I was majoring in music education at Florida A&M. And I can remember I was sitting in my room at my keyboard with the two applications. And my mom said, which one are you going to choose? I said, I want to be safe. I want to be, because we had a kind of rough childhood in terms of financially. And so I was going to choose the one that was going to make sure that I was never struggling again. Of course, and that was Morehouse, going into pre-law, becoming a lawyer, attorney, and maybe later I'll pick back that music thing up. And so she sat there and she said, babe, let me say this to you. Choose your heart. Wherever your heart is directing you is where God is going to provide and bless you from. Now, I know you would make a wonderful attorney, but you were born to be a musician. You were born to be a singer. You were born for music. And I sat there, little tears came in my eyes. She said, what you crying for? She said, I told her because that's the answer I needed. She said, no, you choose that thing that you don't mind waking up to every day. Choose that. And so that's what I did. I enrolled in Florida A&M on a music education journey, a music journey. That's what I did. That's exactly what I did because that was my purpose. That was my oxygen. I was about to, and I hate to use this language, but because I don't like it, I was about to settle for something less than my purpose for personal security. Yee! Oh, ouch. Yeah, I was about to settle against my purpose just to choose personal security because I never wanted my kids or myself, first of all, for myself, my family in the future. I didn't want them to struggle. So I knew that if I was, Dr. L. Spencer Smith, JD, attorney at law, I knew that I wasn't going to have to wrestle and struggle and all that kind of stuff. But I'd have probably been in front of a judge writing songs or singing. I was supposed to be writing a brief. But it took my parent to see, my mom to come in that room to see how it was bent, to tell me, trust the bend. Trust the bend. And again, for a lot of us, it's not too late. It's not too late, but it may cost. It may cost us some of our agenda. It may cost us some of the priority that we have right now. It may cost us some other things going on in our life to get our lives back into purpose, that thing where you don't mind. See, you know what? I think we die early and die too soon because we don't discover purpose. I think we get so weighed down and our bodies reflect that. And the diseases that we have, it's not genetic. It's that our bodies are like, nah, you're not designed this. Our minds, our brains, we've chosen so much. We've chosen security, chosen to take care of ourselves, but we've not chosen to be who we were created to be. And so we are walking around in the world, high blood pressure, diabetes, all these kinds of cancers, fibroids, under so much stress and pressure, when inside of your purpose is the fertilizer, is the nourishment, is indeed the fresh air that you need and that you have needed for so long. Now, I'm not trying to tell you today, Culture Call, to send in your pink slip or send in a resignation letter to your job. That's not what I am telling you to do, right? Because the next part of that is, yes, I was a musician, but my band director, my music director actually said, hey, my advisor said, listen, choose music education because at least as you're getting the music off you're on the road, you can teach. So I did choose something that was in part safe for me so I could make some money while I'm doing that. I did do that, but still it was in the area of where my oxygen was. So I'm not saying don't you go to your and like you playing the big joker and slap your resignation on your supervisor's desk. Don't you do that? No, you're too old for that. Don't do that. You got to have a strategy. You got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. I chose this when I was 15, 16, but some of you are listening to me. You're 40, 50, 60, and dare I say even 70. You probably even retired, and you're thinking about purpose and what's your next. But the thing that keeps you alive, the thing that makes you, get up and go exercise, get up and do other things, get up and meet new people, embrace the world in a different way, see the world in a different way is your purpose. And have we been shaped to be too safe? Ooh. Have we been shaped, to be too safe that we are not living in purpose? And all we got is our shining personality. That's right. Yeah. Listen, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3, 205-752-4800, or you can hit me up on the app. Let's talk about it. Listen, got way more to come. Get you some water. I know you probably need to hydrate after our conversation. Yeah, get you some and don't miss the next segment. Peace.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back. It's the top of the hour right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith, 11 a.m. and some change. That's right. And we're having an amazing day, an amazing conversation. And I know that I'm talking to some amazing people. You're doing the thing. That's right. Absolutely. And we are super excited to have you here listening to the Culture Call. Maybe you've just tuned in. Listen, we are talking about purpose and personality. And it's going to be a wonderful, not it's going to be, but it's already a wonderful conversation. Before I get back into it, this is the time I do my community announcements. Listen, we've got a whole lot going on. Listen, Child Abuse Prevention Services of Tuscaloosa is presenting their 30th annual golf tournament at the Tall Pines Golf Course in Woodland Forest, Saturday, August 26th at 8 a.m. That's right. It is the 30th annual golf tournament. I don't know if you can play golf or not, but get you and some partners together and come on out and be a part of the Child Abuse Prevention Services golf tournament. Listen, it's sponsored by Texas Roadhouse, Crawford Insurance, the Caregiving Doctor, Impact Nation, Van Hoosen Steel Funeral Home, and Town Square Media. Listen, it's $800 per team or $200 per player. That's right. And of course, it will definitely be benefiting child abuse and child maltreatment right here in the Tuscaloosa and surrounding areas. To book your team, call Child Abuse Prevention Services Board President Terry Banks at 205-310-3255. That's 205. Terry Banks at 205-310-3255. That is the 30th annual golf tournament at the Tall Pines Golf Course right here in Tuscaloosa, Woodland Forest, sponsored by the Child Abuse Prevention Services. Listen, and the next we have also, it's the inaugural Growth, Success, and Empowerment Conference. Wow. On August 27th, the day after the golf tournament. That's right. You can make a whole weekend out of it, right? Yes, definitely. It's going to be an exclusive event that promises to a platform all entrepreneurs, really promote them. And it's going to be held at the Tuscaloosa River Market. That's where it's going to be. That's right. And they have limited space. You need to be there on August 27th, 2003. Learn from amazing serial entrepreneurs, Dee Banks and Erica Barnes, Grant Leonard, Ralph Jones, Realty Star Sean Love, and Tuscaloosa Councilman District 7 Cassius Lanier. They're going to be there talking about networking opportunities, inspirational success stories. And of course, you can be a part of the red carpet at 6 p.m. But go ahead and get your tickets. Definitely. You can do that. And the information is on Eventbrite. Simply search the Growth Success and Empowerment Conference right here in Tuscaloosa. Get your tickets, and it's going to be sold out. I'm going to be there. I cannot miss that. That's right. I want to be around people who are movers and shakers, and so I definitely don't want you to miss that. Then, of course, on September 16th, 2023, it is, watch this, the Sickle Cell Association, sponsored by the Sickle Cell Association and the United Way of West Alabama chapter, presents Walking with Warriors. Walking with Warriors. That's right. They're going to have a walkathon in sponsoring of those who have sickle cell or suffer from sickle cell disease. It's important that we support. Let me say that one more time. It is ultimately important that we support those who are suffering with sickle cell disease. And we understand that sickle cell affects our community more than it affects any other community, but we are excited about doing that. So go ahead and make sure that you are a part of that. All of these will be on our Culture Call website, on our Facebook page, because we want you to get that information. Here's another one. Fashion night of Paris. Yeah. Oh, by our very own High Expectations, Rodney High, supermodel Rodney High. It's going to be September 30th. That's right. 2023 at the Bryant Conference Center. You know it. Yeah. General admission, $35, VIP, $50. That's right. It's going to be a night of models, new models, older models. Entertainment is going to be there. Yeah, I think I'm going to be singing there that night too. Yeah, as a part of the entertainment. It's going to be great. You don't want to miss that. Absolutely not. It is a fashion night out in Paris. That's right. September 30th, 2023, right at the Bryant Conference Center, sponsored by High Expectation, Rodney High, supermodel. So much going on in the next few months. And let me do this. I would be remiss if I did not say that this Sunday, we're going to have our Represent Sunday at the Impact Nation Fellowship Church, where you can bring your elementary, your middle, your high school, and your college students, inviting everybody to come and rep their school as our children have gone back to school and our college students are starting classes. We want to have a service and a worship experience that's going to celebrate that, encourage them to get the chords and advance in their academic achievement for the coming year. Don't want to miss it. Again, it's Represent Sunday at the Impact Nation right there on 1110 26th Avenue East in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This Sunday. Do not miss it. All of these announcements will be placed again on our Culture Call Facebook page. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be amazing. Good deal. Listen, let's get back to the subject at hand, because I've got a lot of people that have hit me up on this chat. So let's see what they are saying today, because I already know y'all are highly opinionated, and I love it on the Culture Call. Here's what they said. I don't think that we're ready to talk about how much of our personality is shaped and molded by people that failed in recognizing who we were created to be in God. Wow. We aren't ready to talk about how many of us were made in the likeness and image that our parents envisioned, and that isn't always in line with the original image and likeness of God. Thank you, D from Tuscaloosa, sent that in, and they are absolutely right. That's just exactly what we were talking about. That's what I said. A lot of us do not understand that text. Train up a child in the way that he or she should go, that when they get older, they won't depart from it. In other words, as children, it has to be taken very seriously how we shape purpose and personality. We have to pay attention to that. Not just personality, but purpose. Purpose and personality should go hand in hand if we're doing the parental job correctly. And that simply means that we've got to observe the arrows that we've been given. When a child is born, you've got to observe how that child is bent, just like an arrow. I'm throwing out some good old wisdom here today, because maybe you are a young parent or a new parent that's just listening to me, and you're just tuning in to this. Or maybe you can share this with a new parent or somebody. Listen, when you talk about it, maybe you're a Bible school teacher or a Sunday school teacher, or maybe you're a good Reverend Doctor. Doesn't matter what it is. Here's what the text is saying. Pay attention to the way the arrow, your child, is bent, has been sent by God. Pray and discern. Notice that something is different, unique, right? Before you begin to, in this westernized teaching, we try to establish a pattern for our children before we begin to learn how they have been purposed. Because the patterns and the way that you set out for them should be according to the purpose. We love to quote Romans 8:28. Yeah. And we know all things work together for good to them according, to good to them that love God, to them that are called according to his purpose, right? That means that he has a purpose, and purpose is not an adult thing. Purpose is when he sends you to the earth. Jeremiah, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I ordained you, and I sanctified you to be this. Yes, a prophet to the nations. That's what I did. I bent you to be a prophet. You would have had no other choice but to be a prophet. Now, when you go further in Jeremiah, and this is not a Bible study, so calm down. I don't need no organ. Organist, get off the organ. This ain't that. No, but when you go further, what we like to say, Jeremiah said, I was going to hold my peace, but it's like fire shut up in my bones. And we think that that's a moment of excitement. No, that's a rebuke. That's a correction. Because Jeremiah was about to deny the purpose for which he was even born. But that purpose, that prophet, that word that was on the inside of him was a rebuking fire. It wasn't a praise and run around the church kind of fire. No, it was, you better talk. This is why you're here. This is why you are alive. And that word was reminding him, you got to say me. This is what you've been bent to do. This is what don't let your personality at this time, and that was the whole text. His personality, I'm a child and nobody's paying attention to me, X, Y, Z, he's the lamentation prophet, he's the weeping prophet, all that. And here's the deal. God was like, no. Don't say that again. Don't say that you're not equipped. Don't say that you can't. Don't go there, Jeremiah, because before you got here, I thought you out very well what I wanted you to be. And I knew what you were going to be doing. And I know it was going to be hard. I knew it when I sent you here. I got it. I'm not going to change my mind. That's your purpose. Now, get your personality together. But this is what you've been called to do. And so that fire shut up in my bones is not something that you get excited about. That's a rebuke. That's like, no, that's correction. He didn't want to do it. He told you, I wasn't going to say this word no more. I wasn't going to talk about it no more. I was going to be what I was purposed and called to be. But that thing on the inside of me was like a fire shut up in my bone, and I couldn't not do it. I couldn't withhold it. I had to do what I was called to do. I had to do what I was purposed to do. Do you see the text now? You see how it changes and transitions? The whole concept and the whole thought about that? You see? Right. That you're not going to, as I said before, a lot of our health issues, a lot of our mental and psychological, emotional issues are because we're not in purpose. We're not walking in purpose. We're not breathing in purpose. You can't go to sleep at night because you don't feel like you've really earned a sleep. You're tired, but you don't feel like you've earned rest because you're working or you're laboring, but you're not doing purpose. Purpose brings a sense of satisfaction. Purpose brings a sense of happiness and wholeness and rest. No matter about who agrees with it, no matter if the folks that you're sent to don't necessarily want to head. No, when you've been purposed to do it, you got to do it. You got to do it. You absolutely have to do it. Christ did his purpose. And everybody didn't like him. He came into his own to do his purpose, and his own received him not. And because of that, to them that received him, to them he gave powers to become, right? And so, your purpose your purpose may not be exacted or executed upon the audience and the people and the community that you may want it to be done in, but your purpose is connected to a people. Your purpose is connected to an audience. Your purpose is connected to somebody that has ears for you. That part. Your purpose is all of that. And you have to consider that. You have to consider that. And if you don't consider that, if you don't consider all of that, then you're going to live a miserable life. You're going to be trying to do things that you have absolutely nothing connected to your inner worth, inner being. You're never going to be satisfied. Yeah? And so you have to consistently and continually begin to seek out, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? You know, again, because my purpose is, this whole preaching thing is my purpose and music thing is my purpose. It doesn't matter who shows up or who doesn't. Because what purpose will do, it will clear out company you don't need to be keeping. Okay, I might need to organize for a minute. Nah, I'm good. Yeah. No, seriously. That when you start walking in your purpose, it will start clearing out people who you don't need to be around. It will cause disagreement with people that have no clue or who had an understanding or an idea of what you should have been. It will cause tension between you and your parents, you and your siblings. Yeah. Everybody's not going to agree with your purpose, and neither should they. That's not a prerequisite. Absolutely not. That's not a prerequisite. That when God has placed something inside of you and given you something and put you in this world to do something, guess what? Your best option is to go ahead and just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it. You know, the great turmoil, you know, and again, I'm really using the text a lot today, you know, and since I've been talking about the black church and all that I'm really using the text a lot today. But that whole issue in Gethsemane, Jesus is like, yo, I don't want to do this no more. Read the text. He was like, no, if there's any other way, let this cup pass from me. I don't want to do what I've been purposed to do. The text says, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O God. So cool. I understand. You know, the word was made flesh for this particular purpose. I get it. But here it is, the moment where purpose is getting ready to be realized, the moment that purpose is getting ready to be the hardest for me, and I'm getting ready to go up against my hardest audience. And he said, I don't want to do this. But then he said, nevertheless, because when you choose purpose, it's never the less. You will never allow yourself to be lesser than what you were created to be when you choose purpose. Thy will be done. His will be done. Father, let your will be done. And so the challenge of us today, Culture Call, as you're listening to me, the challenge is to ask yourself a question. Am I in purpose? Am I in purpose? I want to say that one more time. That's not something that I ask you. That's something that you ask yourself. Am I in purpose, or have I just been living off of the fumes of my personality? But at the end of the day, I don't feel fulfilled. I'm tired. All of these different kinds of things. I don't have a good sleep. What is it keeping you up then? What is it worrying and all that kind of stuff? Right? See, when you're in purpose, purpose is the thing that really begins to navigate you around worrying about things when you're living out your purpose. Because you will find that there are some things, quite frankly, you don't need. That part. And sometimes it takes a while to get there. So I'm not talking about something that happens overnight. That's why you started as a child. Do y'all get that? That's why the text. See, people talk about, you know, the Bible is right, somebody's wrong. I agree with that. And a lot of times it's our interpretation or our bad interpretations, misinterpretations. Or we don't even interpret it at all. We read it on the surface and we think with our American Western English mind that we know what they're talking about. No. You have to watch and you have to look. You have to begin to discern and pray. Hey, tell me, how did you send my child? Tell me how you sent my child. I do not want to make them a doctor when they're supposed to be famous for playing the trumpet. What if they're supposed to be a chef, a cook, and in their destiny that they will go all around the world just cooking, just being a chef, But here you are trying to train them to be Reverend Dr. Preacher. You're here trying to train them to be a business mogul or a dentist or a medical doctor, and they have no joy, no purpose, or they have no reason. They're depressed. They're not happy. And you're happy because you get an opportunity to tell your friends, my child is in medical school. My child is in law school. My child is in seminary. Yeah, that you so happy. And your child is like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't want to do this. I don't want to even live. Because they really are not living. Because they've been taught not to live. They've been taught to be safe. And can I tell somebody? Safety is not always living. Woo. Who am I talking to, Culture Call? Is it the folks in the back? Yeah, okay, we're good. Lean in more. Come on, listen. That security, being safe, is not always synonymous to living. As a matter of fact, it could be your safety, your desire for safety and security that's really eking away the years and the potency and the effectiveness of your life. It could be the thing that's robbing you of your oxygen. Facts. And that's reality. And that we have to live with. That we have to live with. That we have to live with. I'm always excited. I'm always excited when I see people who are living in their purpose. They might be a little weird, but we consider them to be a little weird, but they are living in their purpose, doing what they're called to do. And you're like, well, and we've been trained to think in this capitalistic society, money first. But how much money that going to bring? Well, how much money that going to bring? But yeah, drug dealing brings money. Yeah, it does. Right? So, but when that's your grade, when that's your attitude of everything, how you going to take care of yourself? How you going to do this? How they going to okay. That's not what parents did. That's not what mine did. I can't, that thing was like, well, if you get in purpose, my mom said, if you get in purpose, God's going to make a way in the purpose that he made you. He said he didn't give you this gift. He did not give you this kind of gift for you to sit here and simply you be a lawyer. Period. And I'm telling you, she put me in the way I was supposed to be bent. And I've never regretted it. Now, could I go back to school and get a law degree? Absolutely. Am I smart enough to do that? Positively. But am I purposed to do that? Yeah. See, that's why I'm not. Because I know at this particular scheme, it's not purposed. I'm not purposed. And quickly, and as I get older, I'm even getting more in depth in my music. I'm getting deeper in that. I'm going back to my roots. I'm going back to that place that causes me to breathe, that causes me to see, that causes me to understand exactly why I am placed in this earth. Is it to have 1 million people follow me? I don't know. I don't know all of that. That's not my job. Who follows me is not my job. The many mice that follow me is not the issue. But I know I'm supposed to be playing that pipe. The whole Pied Piper situation. I don't know about what mice. I don't know how many mice going to follow me. Don't even matter to me. But what I do know is I have a purpose for playing this pipe. And I'm going to play it the best that I can. Absolutely. So you have to start thinking about where is your purpose and what you are definitely doing. Parents, think about what I'm saying today. Don't get mad at me that when you see me in the street, you mad at me, you fussing at me. Don't do that. I'm trying to help you, precious. I'm trying to help you, sir. Train those children up in the way that they should go, in the way that they have been bent by God. Let them get into purpose and let that purpose begin to shape their personality. Absolutely. Personality shaped outside of purpose is something to deal with. Do you hear me? Listen, I want to hear from y'all. 205-752-4800, or you can hit me up on the app and I'll look at it and see what your comments are and I'll read them on the air and we can learn together. Listen, I've got a phone caller here. I believe it's my friend. It's Miss Joyce. How you doing, Miss Joyce? Oh, did I lose her? Miss Joyce, you on? Okay, I can't hear Miss Joyce. I'm sorry, Miss Joyce. All right, we're going to keep it moving. Listen, I am telling you that if you do what I tell you to do, that, I don't get forceful on the culture call. Y'all listen. I'm excited. Listen, my kids like, Dad, your grandchildren are going to come one day. I'm excited about being a granddad. I really, really am. And it's not just because of the cuddly. It's not because of that. It's not. It's this whole thing about watching the next generation be shaped and go in the direction. I want to see the direction that my grandchildren are going to go. That's what I want to see. I want to see them in that place. I want to see them grow up and learn and be what they're going to be. Purpose. I want to defend their purpose. I want to fight for their purpose. That's what I want to do. Granddaddy wants to be wise for their purpose. Not to lead them into this destiny and this legacy of Smith, this and that. No, I want them to be everything that they have been designed to be. I think I got Miss Joyce back. Do I have Miss Joyce back? Miss Joyce, you on? Hello, Miss Joyce.
Yeah, can you hear me?
There you go. I got you now. I got you now. I was like, where's Joyce? Where's Miss Joyce?
Where the phone cut off and messed up.
Oh, okay.
But I want to tell you, I'm really enjoying your program this morning.
Thank you, Miss Joyce.
And when I was a little child, my mother used to tell me I was different from all of her children.
Wow.
And I'm number 11. My mother had 11 children. I'm number 11.
You the baby.
Yes, I'm the baby, and she was 40 years old when I was born.
Wow.
41. And my father was 45.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line, I was the last one of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
And she said I was different from all of her children, that she couldn't understand me.
Wow.
And she used to call me crazy.
Wow.
My mother called me crazy. She said I was crazy. I didn't have good sense. I wasn't going to never be nobody. I wasn't going to be nothing.
Wow.
And you know what I did?
What you did?
Tell her. I said, no, I'm not crazy. I got good sense. I said, I am going to be somebody. I said, I don't know what I'm going to be, but I know I'm going to be somebody.
You are. That's right.
When I was a little girl, I used to feel the Holy Spirit. I used to go to church, and the Spirit would get on me. I would shout when I was a little child.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand all this, but now looking back over my life, I understand. And back in the 70s, when I went up to Double Portion Church, they had a revival up there, and this preacher come from out of town,
mm-hmm.
and he called me up and he prophesied on me,
mm-hmm.
and he told me what he seen in me.
Wow.
He said I was anointed and I was chosen before I even enter into my mother's
That's
womb.
right. That's exactly right.
He told me that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand because I was young. I didn't understand all that. But now I do.
Wow.
And I want you to know I preached my trial sermon the second Sunday in August of 1981, but I didn't get my license.
Wow.
I didn't get no license. But I did preach my trial sermon, and I was assistant pastor at the church. And when our pastor died, the church broke up.
Wow.
So I never did get my license, but I did used to preach. And I was sitting in my house. I want to tell you this, too.
Uh-huh.
I was sitting in my house a couple of years ago, and the Spirit spoke to me, and he told me that I was an elder.
Wow.
He had made me an elder. And I didn't understand and know. So I called Brother Jay, and I asked Brother Jay, because I consider Brother Jay as my spiritual father.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, Brother Jay, I said, a voice spoke to me and told me I was the elder. I said, I want you to pick up on that and see if it's the truth. Is that the devil talking to me, or that's the Spirit? And Brother Jay said, that's the truth. You is an elder now. And I said, wow, that blew me away. And so back in the 90s, I'm going to say this. The Holy Spirit told me, he said, I'm going to use you on the radio.
Wow.
And so, Brother A, he was living. I told him about it, and the Spirit was using me on Saturday morning on the testimony when Tucker Motor Company was paying for it on Saturday morning.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
And the Spirit started using me back then.
Wow.
And then a lady, she told me, she said, why don't you start calling on the white folks talk? She said, you need to call on them because you got a lot of... I started calling on them. And then they had a program down there for everybody that was calling on WACT hotline. That was back in the 90s.
That's right. That's right. Look, now you got to wrap it up because guess what? I got to take a break.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Joyce, for calling in. I appreciate you, dear. Listen, y'all, hear me now. Hear me. We got to get to purpose. We got to get our kids to purpose, our children to purpose. We got to get ourselves to purpose. And like Miss Joyce said, you got to be careful how you speak to your children because you will send them on a lifelong journey trying to figure out who they are. And that's not fair to them. And guess what? It's not fair to you. Listen, Culture Call, I need to hear from you right here, 205-752-4800. This is L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3. We got a little bit more to go. I need you to keep it right here. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back. Absolutely. I'm telling you, we've been having a wonderful day. And I'm telling you, y'all have had a lot to say about what's been going on this particular subject, purpose and personality, that at some given point, you've got to be exactly what you are designed to be. Because guess what? Part of who we are is supposed to be nestled in how we behave. That who I am, I think personally I act like a musician, or I act like my personality is that of a preacher, you know? I think that's just how I am. I think my personality is supposed to cooperate with what it is. You know, that there are times when I am a little reclusive. I can be, especially when I'm in thought mode. If I'm thinking about a song or a message, or I'm really trying to get a download. Yeah, I'm a little, I won't diagnose it as introversion. You know, some people have misdiagnosed themselves. And you misdiagnose yourself introvert out of opportunities that would have really platformed your purpose and given you a clear understanding about who you are in the world. And so I think, you know, that eternal appointment and that internal feeling, eternal from God, internal inside of us, has to have a conversation. It has to have a connecting. Yeah, that's what it is. It's that purpose and personality is that thing that comes from God connects with that thing that is already in me in terms of my will and my consciousness and my awareness and my understanding about what I've been divinely given to be and how I live that in the world. You know, the text says that it's in him that we live, we move, and we have our being. That a lot of times we are living and we're moving, but many people cease to be. Being. Yeah. Because that is the highest state of your worth understanding what you be. Be is a verb. Be is a derivative, if you can say that, of am. I am. That when you be, it is you saying to the world, I am. You know, it's the same thing that God says to Moses, who do I tell people who have sent me? Who am I telling them that I'm, you know, who sent me on this purpose? You tell them I am that I am. And so your being is a intricate connection between the eternal and the internal, that what God has said has to click on the inside of you. Yeah, it click. This is why it matters where we are raised and who we are given to be a part of and what our environments are and who is our community. This is why we need to be exposed to different things and make different relationships, because we don't know who are the essential keys to waking that up in us. We have absolutely no clue. We don't know that perhaps if you have been in another family or given to other parents what you would have been. But guess what? That's no guarantee if the parents don't know that even while you're a child, that they've got to focus on finding a way to connect that eternal with your internal. Yeah, that they have to find a way to do that. You know? Absolutely. You know, my baby son, he is, works in a PR agency, but I know his purpose, and we discovered this a long time ago. His purpose is sports, athletics. Yeah. And he wakes up, talking about it, knows, it just comes second nature to him. His language, his comportment, the way that his conversation, his strategy, his mindset, even his desires are set in that trajectory. And just because I am a preacher / musician doesn't mean that I have the right to trump that eternal internal connection. My thing is to encourage what God has bent him to do. Encourage that particular turn in his shaft. Yeah, that bend in his arrow. Encourage that until it connects up totally, until he finds himself in the place of purpose where he can work, he can be, he can breathe, where he can smile, he can be happy. That provision comes out of that. Providing comes out of the discovery of purpose. Yeah. And that providing doesn't mean that you're going to be a gazillionaire. It doesn't mean that you're going to be in the Forbes 500. That doesn't mean that. That's not what that means. That doesn't mean that you're going to live across the lake or on a golf course or whatever. That's not what it means. It's going to drive a Lamborghini or Ferrari. Yeah, Rolls Royce. That's not what that means. That means, like what Paul said, that at any state that I find myself in, I've learned how to be content. I've learned how to do all things through Christ that strengthen me. That doesn't mean I do all things. That doesn't mean anything that I do. No. The things that have been given to me and I face in my life as a part of my purpose, I can do them all. That I have grace for every assignment. And that's what purpose brings to us. It brings to us an understanding of our particular levels of grace, favor, opportunity, platform, relationships. Yeah. That I can connect to people immediately. And when I can sense that, yeah, this is just for this moment. I'm never going to talk to this individual again. And guess what? I'm okay with that because they're not essential to my purpose. But then there are some people that I meet that I know that I'm not going to be able to do life without them. Yeah, I know that they have been sent for such a time and such a season that I am in. I know it. I know when we meet our first couple of paragraphs to each other, I can already tell in their voice that this person is essential to helping me get to and unfolding even the more my purpose. This person is a part of the oxygen makeup that's going to help me breathe better in the world that I have right now. And that's important, Culture Call. That's what we have to do. I am at the place, and I've always been like this. I don't like a bunch of people simply hanging around me. Yeah, you should neither. I mean, I'm not talking about not being in crowds and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about just to be around me, to be in my personal space, to be in my space, my creative space. I don't like a lot of people around me because I know everybody in that space is not according to my purpose. I don't need you questioning me why I'm doing what I'm doing. I need you to hear me. I need you to see. And if I'm a part of somebody's purpose, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to discern. I want to be able to promote and push them to breathing the fresh air that God has designed for them in their own lives. You know what? I hate to say this, but I think it is true that a lot of us have never been taught, very few of us, because I don't want to give it that big of a language, but quite a few of us has never been taught to breathe our own air, to breathe our own oxygen, because we're being measured by past We're being measured by people that we will never meet. We're being measured by folks that you're like, yeah, okay. Really? We're being put in a box, and we're being sheltered. Yeah. We're being held back because we've got an expectation to live out something that our whole lives, our whole being doesn't even agree with. I hear it all the time. Little children crying out like, this is what I want to be. I pay attention. I pay attention in church. I pay attention to my children. I pay attention to how they're formed. And this is something that I teach. This is not something that's, something I'm just saying on the radio. This is what I teach. This is what I believe as a pastor, as a parent, as a person, that purpose is so very important. And it's our own, I think it's our own personal oxygen. I hope y'all can feel that and it doesn't sound weird. If it sounds weird, pray about it. You discern my heart here. I think that purpose is our oxygen. It's that connection. It's that thing that says, it's God breathing into us and that exhale that we do. It's that. And if you don't have that, then you're just getting a paycheck. You're just functioning off, changing seasons, changing personalities. And maybe you're not even changing your personalities. This is just the way I am. And you're sitting over miserable in a corner, mad, upset, and frustrated. And the sad part about it is that you've got to learn, and this is a lesson, you've got to learn that some of who you are is never going to wake up until you tap in to purpose. Let me say that one more time. Some of who you are is never going to wake up to purpose. And I'm not talking about an alarm clock. I'm not talking about calendars and pocket projections. I'm talking about the real you. The you were put in this earth to be. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't get that, you're going to miss something profound in your life. Listen, I got a little bit of time. Give me a call, 205-752-4800, or hit me up on the app. That's right. Who do I have online with me today?
Hello. This is Vita White. This is your sister.
Hey, sis. How you doing, darling?
Your daughter. I'm your daughter and your sister.
Yeah.
And I caught some of the conversation, and I just want to put my 2 cents in. And some of what I'm saying probably has already been said, but I just want to encourage people. And we, in terms of purpose, because we're having this discussion. I'm having this discussion with a group of people, and I know I say to them in this way that purpose definitely is a reason of which something is done or created for, or something that exists. And I always give this analogy that God is a creator. He is the creator, maker, and sustainer of all things.
Right.
And he has a purpose, plan, and design. He is a God of purpose, plan, and design, which means that he has designed a divine purpose for all of us. And we are part of his divine purpose. Sometimes we make the mistake of putting people places of which they need not be.
Right.
Because just because you're capable don't mean you're called.
Yeah.
Just because you have the ability doesn't mean you have the anointing.
Right.
And of course, you taught me that with a gift comes grace.
That's right.
And sometimes people become ambitious, not by their own doing, but by their parents or their siblings or people in school, the teacher or professor
Right.
say, well, you should do best and so. And so we have to really horn in and finding our place in this world. And because ambition has nothing to do with the anointing of God that gives you the supernatural power to accomplish.
Right.
And we have to always be cognizant of the fact that with any assignment, you have to have the anointing to complete, whether it's sacred or secular.
That's right.
We have to know that God is a God that gives us the ability to, and sometimes our vocation will marry our occupation or vice versa. But that's not always the case. And, just because, you got a preacher head, you look like a granddad, you're going to be a preacher too. That's how people think
Right.
things. People tell me, you sound like a preacher. What does that sound like?
Right, exactly.
My voice, raspy voice, whatever. But nonetheless, I just wanted to encourage everyone who's listening to live in purpose, live on purpose, live for purpose, and know that God is infinite in his wisdom. He's infallible in his word, and he's intentional in his ways, which means he does all things well. And if you just go to him and seek his face as to what it is, some people say, what is my purpose? Usually it's your passion, whatever you're passionate about.
Right.
Usually that's a clear indication of what direction you at least start out in.
Right.
So just remember that God is infinite in wisdom, he's infallible in his word, and he's intentional in his ways, which means he does all things well. And depend on him and seek him, and he'll give you all of the directions you need as you live on purpose.
Thank you, V. I appreciate you. Listen, that's my sister, y'all, Vita Y. Reese. I'm going to let her have the last word on that God is intentional. God is intentional with purpose and passion, and he will give you grace for every assignment. Listen, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3. I'm telling you, it's been an awesome day. Got a little bit more to go. Keep it right here. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we have come to the end of another episode of the Culture Call right here with L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3. And I'm telling you, it has been an amazing day, an awesome day. And I want to remind all of you of all of our public service announcements. I'm going to put them on our Culture Call Facebook page. Make sure you go to Facebook and follow us, The Culture Call. It's our Facebook page there, and I'm going to put all of the announcements so you will know exactly what is going on in our community. We don't want you to miss the events. So many great and wonderful things that are going on. Most recently, coming up is the 30th annual golf tournament of Child Abuse Prevention Services. That's right. That's coming up, and you don't want to miss that. Get your golf buddies and get your guys together. And yeah, go ahead out there at the Tall Pines over at Woodlawn Forest, and yeah, show up. Go be Tiger Woods or somebody out there. Don't miss it. It's going to be amazing. Don't miss it. Yeah, we want you to support Child Abuse Prevention Services. It's so important that we take care of our children. Too important. Listen, we've got the Growth and Success Empowerment Conference that's coming up. We've got the Sickle Cell Walk, sponsored by the West Alabama a chapter of the Sickle Cell corporation that you have to deal with, the Sickle Cell Disease Society Association. We want you to be a part of that. We also have the fashion from Paris, the model things, that kind of going on from Rodney High Expectation. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss this Sunday, even at the Impact Nation Fellowship Church with our Represent Sunday. Yeah, don't miss it. But we'll put that on Facebook so that you can see it. I want to leave you with this, is that who you are, purpose does not always reside in safe waters. That sometimes, in order for you to be who you've got to be, who God has designed you to be, you got to be like Peter and step out of the boat. Yeah. I know it. Yeah. Sometimes we don't want to do that. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I want to do it. No, you got to step out of the boat. You got to make sure that what you are supposed to be doing is what you're living for. And that sometimes might mean that you have to walk on the seas, in the wind, with the rain, and all of the tumultuous things that happen. But know this, that he that has called you on the water and told you to come is much able, so able to keep you afloat. You're not going to sink when you discover your purpose. Now walk in it. Listen, as we've come to the end of this particular show, I want to remind you, just like my grandmother and my mother says at the end of every phone call, I love you a bushel and I love you a peck. And I love you a hug around the neck. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. And we will meet right back here next week on Monday at 10 a.m. right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith, Praise 93.3. Listen, I bid you a great Godspeed today. Stay out of trouble. Don't look for any. Follow peace with all men. And enjoy your entire weekend. God bless. Peace.